wishing all of you a very happy Diwali. Welcome to our special presentation where we're talking about whether the consumer is back and back with a bang. And what better way to get a sense and a pulse of consumer spends than in the middle of a mall, one of Mumbai's most popular malls, Pheonix Mills. And we're right over here with some of the best voices in the industry. You can see that there is a lot of festive flair and fervor going on. But what is it really translating into? Let me just set the stage before we get into this very interesting conversation. So this is in a sense the first Diwali festive season where you have no COVID restrictions and you have a fairly good monsoon. The appetite to spend is there. On the other hand, you also have high inflation and fears of a global recession. Has that impacted the Indian consumer at all? What are the kind of trends that we're seeing in consumer spends? That's what we're going to explore today. And joining me in this is Rajendra Kalkar. He's President and Director of the Pheonix Mills. Rajendra ji, great to have you on the show and thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much.
I'm joined today with Anurag Katriar, founder Indigo Hospitality and Trustee at NRAI. Thank you, Anurag, for speaking with us today.
Good to
and
be here.
Akshya D'Souza, CMO of Bizom, is also joining us, will give us the breakdown and what the numbers are really saying. So, welcome to all of you. And here's wishing all of you a very, very happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali to you as well.
Thank you. Mr. Rajendra, let me begin just, with your take and with your sense. I can visibly see a lot of footfalls around me here at the mall. But the problem with footfalls in the mall is it doesn't necessarily translate into people spending money. Are you seeing a difference in this, I would say, first real post-COVID Diwali?
So first of all, wish you and the viewers a very, very happy Diwali. The festive season this year, I think, is looking festive. I think I'm visualizing a Diwali after 2 years that looks like a Diwali. Coming to your question whether, there are more window shoppers or real shoppers. What has happened is since last 2 years, we have seen the amount of window shoppers actually going down and real shoppers coming into the mall. Because what has happened is, people still the hybrid, the work from home, online, a lot of people have got into that little habit. So when they come to a mall, I think they come with a serious intent. Either they're coming for buying or coming for shopping or they're coming for entertainment. So you have cinemas, you have F&Bs, you have, small kids entertainment for family. And real time spent and meeting and greeting and enjoying the time with family and friends. So the conversion is quite, I would say, relatively much higher as compared to previous years now and this is true not only at one mall. I think we have visualized this across malls that the conversions are much better as compared to the years which they were bygone.
Okay, so that's great news. People are coming in and shopping. Just to follow up there, are you seeing any impact at all of inflation? Because we know prices have gone up across categories, whether it's, and I'm talking over the last 2 years, global supply chains, etc., fuel prices have all led to higher prices of pretty much everything. You go out to spend, you have to spend more. Is it dampening the propensity to spend or is it making no difference?
See, 3 conceptual habits changed in India in the last 2-3 years. One, the mentality of saving is actually, diminished to a little extent, and especially in the urban areas. The mentality to spend has really increased a bit. That's what I see. Second is, in the last 2 years, if you see the statistics of stock market, a few crore retail investors had entered the stock market in the last 2 years.
Yes.
I think they have been able to, maybe looks like, looking at the Diwali and the spends, they have been able to generate good returns out of that, which I think they are intending to spend across places like malls.
Okay.
And third, the amount or the kind of disruptive buying that they used to do, which has not happened in the last 2 years, is pushing a lot of people to upgrade. The new wardrobe is perhaps required because everybody's wardrobe has gone down the drain in the last 2 years. Somebody's either put on a lot of weight or he's trimmed down a lot. So that's actually helping a lot. Coming back to the query whether inflation is really impacting, I am presuming, or what it looks like to me is, it's there in the back of the mind, but I think it's not a dampener at all.
Okay, so people want to spend, people are coming with an intent to spend, and that's a very interesting observation, because with the options of online shopping, people need not come out unless they actually want to touch, feel and see something and, you know, spend that money. Anurag, what about the restaurant business? Again, fuel prices have gone up. I remember speaking over the last couple of years, and we've had, you know, very regular conversations about the kind of impact on diners, restrictions. All of that is now out. Are you seeing that change?
Oh, 100%. 100%. See, one word which describes this whole thing this year is sentiment. The sentiments have changed completely from, you know, restrictions on going out, the fear of COVID. I hope I don't jinx it. But with everything gone, I think people are stepping out today. Incomes are there. Yes, I agree there are certain inflationary pressures. But I think people have now learned to accept them with an air of inevitability that this is going to happen. I'll give you an example for, you know, food prices have really shot up. So we were compelled to increase prices at our restaurants. And we were expecting some backlash, and we actually told our managers and teams that how to handle those queries. You know, most people say, no, we know there is a Ukraine war going on, the price of oil has gone up. So I think it is a new breed of consumer which is very aware of what is going around, and they understand that this is not with an intent of profiteering. This is purely something which is beyond anybody's control. So I think people are out. I think it's a great year. One big change which I have noticed this year is lots of corporates are now spending money this year for Diwali for their office parties, their colleagues' parties, their clients' parties, which was missing in last 2-3 years, because obviously, I mean, there was not much opportunity. So yeah, things are looking good. Back to the brighter times, hopefully.
So, you know, to be fair, to just strike a note of balance, the point of view from Mr. Rajendra and from Anurag are from people who have perhaps higher disposable incomes. As a proportion of our population, a smaller proportion. So maybe someone can justify their pasta costing more because of the Ukraine war. That's not everybody and every Indian consumer. Akshay, can you give us a broader picture?
Sure.
Because we've been talking all along about a K-shaped recovery, right? People with a propensity to spending more. Luxury cars selling more than two-wheelers, for example. Are you seeing that as a broader theme?
So I tell you, so at the start of the year, you know, the whole Russia-Ukraine crisis broke out. Oil prices went to the roof. Then Indonesia banned palm oil for a while. And that was more political than actual business logic there. And finally, all of this resulted in prices skyrocketing. And I think that's something that hit all of us. Right through the first 6 months, barring say April, we saw FMCG business month on month taking a hit across, and consumers started down trading. Now, consumers started down trading in products where they used to actually buy larger ticket sizes also. This changed in August. Now, what happened in August? August had Ganesh Chaturthi, it had Raksha Bandhan, it had Janmashtami, and most importantly, it had Independence Day. Right? Now, Independence Day sales and festivals in grocery is now become a very, very big thing. It's a big event in India now. And suddenly, despite inflation still continuing to be there, the tide turned. And suddenly we were all very happy. We said, okay, this is the turn that we're looking for. And in comes September. Right? And September was Onam, which is again, you can call it a more regional festival, so to speak. But Onam did not turn the tide. In September, we had a hard month again. But that was also possibly because in August, a lot of FMCG companies went and overstocked. They said, okay, festival season's begun. Let me take category share. Let me dump stock in this for my product. So any customer coming for this category will buy my product. That took a hit in the next month because retailer Kirana said, okay, I will now liquidate stock. In October though, and Navratri and the build-up in September end and now, we're seeing the Titan again. So what it really points to me is this. Inflation is there, it's real, it's hitting customers. However, we have seen revenge shopping, and mall owners and Pheonix would have seen this earlier, and so did a lot of modern trade see earlier. We've seen revenge tourism, and a lot of travel companies that have told you that we are now possibly in the middle of revenge festivities, nothing can stop them from celebrating this festival. And that's pretty much where we see and what we analyze where we are. Because a number of consumers who are actually going out to celebrate festival in the pandal, for example.
Yeah.
And I know so many of them who've never gone before. They're just going, they say, because they couldn't do anything even if they wanted to the last 2 years. So that's really the consumer phenomena that we are actually in the middle of.
Okay. So you're saying the revenge buying trend will continue. But if you can give us some more detail, because you have the advantage of a bird's eye view of across categories, across kinds of, retail experiences. What really has fired the most and what is still a little tepid?
So I'll give you a little breakup, and that would be interesting to know that, initially when in COVID 1, COVID 2, when the malls opened for partially, fully, whatever, the biggest needs was electronics. Everybody wanted laptops, computers, tablets, phones, headsets for Zooms, meetings, work from home, study from home. Electronics went on big bang. Formals, accessories, footwear, makeup went completely down. Skincare was doing bang good. So, athleisure bang took a like never before. So, all these happened in the last 2 years. When the COVID restrictions went on, when the last 2 years, starting the current financial year, slowly the formal wear, which was not doing well, started picking up. Men's formal wear, women's formal wear. The ethnic was still not picking up. Somewhere in May, the ethnic started picking up. And since July, August, I'm seeing the big tickets of the marriages. The wedding season did start, and then the products which are required for gifting, for buying, for selling, for wearing, big tickets of apparel started selling. So that phenomena started, and now in the last 4 months, if you see, I think practically all categories are doing fabulously well. That includes dining in particular, because people, I think, they are wanting to dine out more. Though there are lots of online other channels available to get food at home, I think people are wanting to come and eat out. So dining,
Yeah, 100%. So
dining
I
out
always
has become a phenomena now.
So what is happening? There are two types of consumers in food. One who just need to satisfy their hunger. They will probably order in. But in India, eating out is a lot about festivity, a lot about celebration, and a lot about experience. And that is what is coming back. People who want to experience will go out to the restaurants. If I'm busy at home and I'm at work and I need to just satisfy my hunger, I'll probably order it. The proportion of dining business is growing quite well, whereas the delivery business is actually, if not going down, it's pretty much there where it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Any more detail and color you can add to that, because that's an interesting trend. So far, it was the other way around.
Yeah, because that was the only channel available for people to consume food. Because in Mumbai, especially if you remember, we were operating till August of last year up to like 4 o'clock or something, Rajendra, right?
Yeah.
4 o'clock, which means nothing, which was as good as being shut. After that also we started with 50%, double vaccinated.
Yeah.
Now with all those restrictions gone, people want to go out. What is the lowest thing you want to do when you want to celebrate? The first thing you say is, let's go out, have a drink, have a party, whatever. So what was happening, and it was very unfairly populated during the pandemic, that was the only source of business for us. That's why obviously the ratio of delivery business was going high. There was no dining happening. But today, we are back to, now the delivery business is somewhere around 8-10%, 11% for most
Okay,
people.
that's an interesting trend. We were talking earlier, and Akshya was talking about this save, spend kind of sort of trend that he noticed. Are you seeing that, Mr. Kalkar? And are you also seeing a difference in the appetite to spend on high-end products versus more base products?
So traditionally what happens is some months are high in the malls, some months are low in the malls. The concept is there, but in the low months, supposing I had an X sale, I think the growth is visible. So, I don't fully agree that in the urban areas or in the malls that phenomena is actually happening. The growth is visible, and it's visible at a decent pace, and looks that it is growth. We are able to
It's well-rounded.
It's well-rounded. So far as the value of products is concerned, you are absolutely right. We are seeing high-end value products selling more, and yes, logically, because they are high-end value, so If you do the mathematics, it will look higher only. But as a percentage also, or as a growth rate, if I benchmark it that okay, a luxury brand was doing X business, say pre-COVID, has it done better? It has definitely done much better.
Yeah, because across the board, you're seeing luxury brands suddenly really pick up in India, and maybe base brands, not do as well.
There is very important reason why luxury brands are doing much better in India now. See, earlier, a lot of customers used to buy luxury products outside India.
Yeah.
In the last 2-3 years, not everybody has been able to travel abroad.
Right.
But they still want to satisfy that need of luxury brand, which is ensuring that the local, wherever it is available, they are doing much better.
Another big trend is, of course, travel, which we've seen a lot of people now, as things are opening up, willing to pay more to travel as well. Now, my question is, if this is around the festival, if I look at the start of this quarter, Akshay, this question for you. What do you think will be the sustainability of this? Because revenge buying can only take this far, right? You'll upgrade your electronics in your house, you might pick up new furniture. Chalo, I've gone back to work, I've got my formal wear, and then my appetite is sated. So what happens next? You want to take that first action?
Yeah, so I think fundamentally the question of inflation has to be addressed. And I think as FMCG companies, they had a period of very, very high cost inflation, where all they did in that period largely was pass that price rise on consumers. So they went through multiple quarters of price-led growth and not necessarily consumption-led growth. While we get at the end of Diwali and we finish Diwali now, I think that's the most important question that has to be addressed by consumer companies. Because growth, if at this point consumers are saying, I'm going to go for value. And we're already seeing some of those play out with soaps, for example, as a category. We are seeing certain leading products in that category dropping prices.
Yes.
So you're seeing the effect of oil as an input ingredient in a lot of products. While that has tempered down, the end product price has not changed. Maybe that will have to change to drive consumption further. But that is a real headwind, so to speak, that needs to get addressed by consumer companies as well as at an inflationary overall macro level, which is also happening at the government level for essentials, right? So you are seeing wheat, rice, you are seeing oils getting addressed, you're seeing fuel getting addressed at a macro level. But then translating that into consumer price, still a lot more work to be done. And I think that's what you will need to do to see consumption growth going forward.
So, the assessment or the idea that consumers will continue to ignore inflation inevitably will have to change, isn't it? Anurag, are you hoping to see a sustained pace of growth? And this is generally a good period for your industry. Right up to December, Jan, Feb is a good period.
October onwards it is good, but this year overall, if I look at from April itself, has been fairly good for us. Only I think 1 month, June was a dampener this year. June was a dampener.
The month of May was perhaps one of the peakest month for the entire retail industry.
Was the biggest month, May. Why is that?
Holidays, people came out, financial year, increments were there. I'm presuming all of those things.
So
May was the biggest month.
September, Tamanna used to be the worst month for restaurants. Not this year. Not this year.
Yeah.
Things are changing. I think, while inflation is definitely a dampener in consumption, and it is one dampener in the overall economic story of India. But you also look at other indices. Things are looking up. Whether you look at the GDP that we are maintaining, growth that we are maintaining, whether you look at the GST collection we are getting, whether we are looking at the stock market's performance in India, everything is looking good. And I think this is the new India story. We are all looking positive. And people, maybe, to add to what Rajendra was saying a little while back, maybe there is a little bit more of consumerism into India than savings, what was the case earlier. Earlier, everybody said, okay, I'm earning 100, let me put 20 to the bank, 10 for the future, and then spend 70. Now, probably saying, let's spend whatever is saved is saved. This is how consumerism works. And I think that is what is coming in. But to me, it is not, of course, inflation is a worry. I'm not trying to brush it off.
Yeah.
As of date, maybe people are accepting
No, inflation is a worry. 2023 might be a tough year for the world. Some of that might spill into India
100%.
as well. GDP outlook, all of that. But the fact is, at least for now, for this festive season and the foreseeable future, you think that confidence has come in?
100%.
That we will be fine.
This is the confidence.
People are not worried about continuance of their income.
No, I think that confidence in the India story is there with the Indians. I think most people today believe that we are on the right path and things will change. I mean, today, look, increments are back. There are a number of people who are getting into entrepreneurship is beautiful. I shared a couple of stories in last show of yours, where a valet driver of mine is running a bakery in Odisha and making 5x of the money he was making.
So you guys are not coming back to work after
lots of people. Yeah, that is one of the biggest problems. Reverse migration is a big problem. Because they have all found, and also, one of the biggest supply source of people for us is that northern belt, UP, Bihar, Bengal and all. Now, over there, stories are also improving. People are finding vocations there, so they don't see the need to go back to a big city.
Yeah. How much of this upbeat mood is being driven by deep discounts, Mr. Rajendra? Is it a value proposition largely? Because of course, this is a season for discounts and there have been good offers going on all along the festive period. Do you think that's the big push?
So generally in malls, it's the end of the season periods, July and December, January, where discounts are offered. During festive season of Diwali and Christmas, it is not to do more with discounts, it is more to do with promotions.
Okay.
They don't do, I think, deep discounting, they do more of promotions. So it's like value addition. The customer will feel benefited, but it's not, the route is not discounts.
Okay.
It's more value addition, and I think Diwali value addition, customers are lapping it as well.
And are you confident about this trend sort of sustaining?
See, I have a different take on this altogether. What has happened is in the last 2 years, social media has exposed the lowest level in the country. That has really brought in the industry, fashion and consumerism in particular, because customer is so exposed in last 2 years, he wants, his needs have really grown wider. Say in the last 5 years, 3 years before, a girl who's, was happy with 4 tops, today is seeking 10 tops because of that exposure. And this is going to last longer and only grow higher in my opinion.
That's a very interesting take. If I understand it correctly, you're saying that because people are putting out pictures on social media, they don't want to repeat those clothes for their fresh pictures. Social media is basically your best salesperson.
Yes, of course it is.
It is. It is.
Of course it is. It's a media. Of course it is.
So that's the phenomena that they say, right? You live for social media. You don't live for yourself. You live for that's the phenomena that's taking over. So the other take on the whole luxury space and this beautiful vibe that you see in a mall like this. Fantastic by the way. I think you should have many more of these.
He already has quite a.
So my take is one of the things that actually drives this whole luxury space is when you actually there was a very high barrier earlier. The barrier was travel to going and buying a lot of luxury stuff, that like Narendra said earlier. When that barrier is, dropped and availability is there in places like this, your need still remains.
No, but price differentials are very high because duties on luxury goods imported into India are massive.
Correct.
Yeah. Your price differentials are huge.
Correct.
So
it's about affordability and availability. So if your affordability is there,
market is actually price inelastic.
Yeah.
Price inelastic. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is.
They don't care.
Yeah, that's what I said.
They care a little lesser as compared to everybody else.
If I want it, I will take it. I don't care about the price. A little bit inflation is fine.
Okay. Your point you were making.
Yeah, so like I said, once that barrier gets broken at the upper end of the product spectrum, I think it's availability and just affordability is the key mantra there, and I think that's what drives consumption. And I think that also happens with restrictions. That need to go and shop and buy your favorite luxury products being next to you, even that kind of took off a little bit. So that I think is a phenomenon that we're also seeing pan out a lot more. And thanks to COVID, it's only going to get stronger, is what I feel in the luxury segment.
Okay, so COVID is over. People have now become avid consumers. India is turning to consumerism in a big way. How will this be sustained? Do you think that this is because this is a great sort of sample to look at what it means for incomes? Do you think this will translate next year in all of your businesses into higher salaries? Because only then the cycle will continue.
It has to. It has to. There is no choice. Eventually, whether you call it inflation, whether you call it performance, how does the increment come in? When the companies are doing better, they pay better. And that is how the whole cycle keeps going. The moment I pay better, they consume more, industry does better. It's consumerism end of the day.
So you're promising better increments next year. You're on TV, Anurag.
Yeah, I have. In my trade today, if you don't give increments, you can't even retain people. Forget about anything else.
I was reading today that Infosys as an organization has agreed for moonlighting.
Moonlighting,
So that is going to add into the income in any way.
And people are also...
People will find stock market incomes, avenues of income. I think people are finding ways to increase their income, whichever way. That's why there is so much of... people are